Growing up in a household where the walls were constantly filled with tension and unspoken resentment wasn't easy. My name is Layla, and as the younger daughter of a family where competition seemed to be the only way to gain any attention, I quickly learned how to blend into the background. My older sister, Rachel, always dominated the scene. She was the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in our parents' eyes, even though she was often the cause of the turmoil that surrounded us. From a young age, I found solace in art. While other kids were playing outside or watching TV, I was holed up in my room, sketching or painting. Art became my escape from the constant chaos that Rachel seemed to thrive on. But Rachel, being Rachel, couldn't stand that I had something that brought me joy. It was almost as if she needed to extinguish any light in my life to make herself feel brighter. High school was when things really started to unravel for me. I was 15, just beginning to understand who I was and what I wanted out of life. I had this huge crush on Liam, a boy in my art class. He was everything I admired: creative, kind, and most importantly, he seemed to genuinely love art as much as I did. I thought that if I could just impress him with my work, maybe he'd notice me. I spent weeks working on a piece for the school's art exhibition. It was a portrait of my grandmother, who had always been my biggest supporter. I poured everything I had into that painting, every emotion, every bit of love I had for her. When I finally finished it, I was proud. I actually thought that for once, I had created something that was truly special. But Rachel, of course, couldn't let me have that moment. On the day of the exhibition, she came to the school, uninvited, and decided to critique my work in front of everyone. "Is that supposed to be Grandma?" she sneered loud enough for everyone to hear. "It looks nothing like her. I can't believe you'd show this in public, Layla." I was mortified. The humiliation of hearing her tear my work apart in front of my peers was unbearable. I felt the tears welling up, but I refused to cry in front of her. I just stood there, frozen, as everyone stared. Liam was there too, his expression unreadable, but I could feel the pity in his eyes. I wanted to disappear. After that day, I was ready to give up on art altogether. But my grandmother, bless her heart, wouldn't let me. She saw something in me that no one else did. "Don't you ever let anyone take away your passion, Layla," she told me. "Art is in your soul. It's who you are. You have a gift, and you should never let anyone make you feel ashamed of that." She was the one who pushed me to apply to art college. My parents weren't exactly supportive. They thought it was a waste of time and money. But Grandma believed in me. She paid for my tuition out of her own savings, something I'll never forget. She was my rock, my anchor, in a sea of uncertainty and doubt. But life has a way of pulling the rug out from under you when you least expect it. Just as I was beginning to find my footing in college, Grandma passed away. It was sudden, a heart attack that took her in the middle of the night. I was devastated. She was the only person who truly understood me, and now she was gone. To make matters worse, Rachel swooped in like a vulture. After the funeral, she claimed all of Grandma's jewels, including the diamond ring that had been left to me. She said she needed them more than I did, that she had debts to pay. I was too broken to fight her, so I gave in, letting her take the last tangible connection I had to my grandmother. It was the lowest point in my life. I was barely scraping by in school. My art had lost its spark, and I had nothing left of the one person who had believed in me. I seriously considered dropping out, thinking that maybe my parents were right, that art was a dead-end career, and I should just find something more practical to do with my life. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, I received a letter in the mail. It was from the college, informing me that I had been awarded a full scholarship for my final year. I couldn't believe it. It felt like a lifeline, a sign that maybe, just maybe, I was meant to continue on this path. The scholarship allowed me to focus on my studies without worrying about money. For the first time, I felt like I could breathe. I threw myself into my work, spending long hours in the studio, trying to recapture the passion I had lost. Slowly but surely, I began to find my way back to art. It wasn't easy. but with each brushstroke, I felt a little bit of my old self returning. As I immersed myself in my work, I started to distance myself from my family. The drama, the constant fighting, the toxic environment, I couldn't handle it anymore. I stayed in touch with my parents out of obligation, but Rachel, I couldn't even look at her. Then, one day, I discovered something that would change everything. I found out that Rachel had been unfaithful to her husband, something she had managed to keep hidden from the rest of the family. Not only that, but she had also pawned our grandmother's ring and necklace, the very jewels she had insisted she needed so desperately. I knew I had to tell the truth. It wasn't just about the jewelry, it was about exposing Rachel for who she really was. So, I told my parents everything. They were shocked, of course, but more than that, they were disappointed. For so long, they had turned a blind eye to Rachel's behavior, but now they couldn't ignore it. The fallout was immediate. Rachel's husband filed for divorce, and she found herself struggling financially. It was almost poetic justice in a way. She had spent so long tearing me down, only to end up with nothing. I didn't feel sorry for her, not after everything she had put me through, but I also didn't gloat. I just wanted to move on with my life. Now, 2 years later, I've finally found some semblance of peace. After graduating, I landed a job at the Harmony Art Gallery. It's not the most glamorous job, but it's a start. I get to be surrounded by art every day, and I've even started painting again. At first, it was just small pieces, nothing I planned on showing anyone. But as I worked, I found that old spark returning. The passion, the love for creating. It was still there, buried deep inside me. To my surprise, some of my work has started to attract interest from collectors. It's a surreal feeling, knowing that someone actually wants to buy something I created. It's validation in a way I never expected, proof that all those years of struggle and doubt weren't for nothing. As for my family, I've learned to keep them at arm's length. I still talk to my parents occasionally, but I avoid any conversation about Rachel. She's still out there, somewhere, trying to pick up the pieces of her life, but I've moved on. I refuse to let her drama pull me back into the darkness I fought so hard to escape. There is one bright spot in my life that I never saw coming. Henry. We met through a mutual friend, and it was like everything just clicked. He's a graphic designer, incredibly talented, and most importantly, he understands me. He gets why art is so important to me, why it's more than just a hobby or a career. It's who I am. Henry and I are planning to move in together soon. It's a big step, but it feels right. For the first time in a long time, I'm excited about the future. I'm finally starting to build a life that's mine, free from the shadows of my past. As I sit here in my small apartment, surrounded by canvases and paintbrushes, I can't help but reflect on how far I've come. The journey hasn't been easy. There were times when I thought I'd never make it, when the weight of my past threatened to crush me. But somehow, I found the strength to keep going. My relationship with Rachel is still strained, to say the least. After her divorce, she tried to reach out to me, but I couldn't bring myself to respond. I don't hate her, but I don't trust her either. There's too much history, too much pain between us. Maybe one day we'll be able to mend our relationship, but for now, I'm content to keep my distance. My parents have been supportive in their own way, though I know they still don't fully understand my choices. They wanted me to have a stable career, something more practical than art. But I've come to realize that I don't need their approval to be happy. I've found my own path, and I'm proud of that. Working at the gallery has been a dream come true in many ways. I'm constantly surrounded by inspiration, by artists who pour their souls into their work. It's a reminder of why I fell in love with art in the first place. And knowing that my own work is beginning to resonate with others, it's more than I ever hoped for. There are still days when I struggle, when the memories of the past creep back in and threaten to pull me under. But I've learned how to cope, how to push through the darkness and find the light on the other side. I've learned that it's okay to let go of the things that hurt me, that it's okay to focus on my own happiness. Henry has been my rock through all of this. He's patient and kind, always there when I need him. We've talked about the future, about what we want out of life, and it's comforting to know that we're on the same page. Moving in together is a big step, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready to start this new chapter of my life, with him by my side. Looking ahead, I see a future filled with possibilities. I'm not naive. I know there will be challenges, that life has a way of throwing curveballs when you least expect it. But I'm stronger now, more resilient. I've faced my demons, and I've come out the other side. I plan to continue working at the gallery, and I'm excited to see where my art takes me. There's a part of me that dreams of having my own exhibition one day, of seeing my work displayed in a gallery for everyone to see. It's a dream that seemed impossible not too long ago, but now, who knows? As for my family, I've made peace with the fact that we may never be close. But that's okay. I've found a family in the friends I've made, in the people who understand and support me. I've learned that family isn't just about blood. It's about the connections you make, the people who stand by you when times are tough. Henry and I are already talking about starting a family of our own one day. But for now, we're just enjoying being together. We spend our weekends exploring the city, visiting art galleries, and dreaming about the future. It's simple, but it's perfect. I know there's still a lot of healing left to do. The scars from my past run deep, and there are moments when the pain still feels fresh. But I'm learning to let go, to forgive. Not just Rachel, but myself. I'm learning that it's okay to be happy, that I deserve the life I've worked so hard to build. Art has always been my refuge, my way of processing the world around me. As I paint, I find myself pouring my experiences, my emotions, into every brush stroke. My canvases have become a reflection of my journey, of the chaos and the redemption that have defined my life. Recently, I've been working on a series that's deeply personal, inspired by the tumultuous relationship I've had with Rachel. It's not about anger or revenge, but rather about understanding, about coming to terms with the past. Each piece tells a story, a chapter of my life that I've been too afraid to confront until now. One of the pieces, in particular, has garnered a lot of attention. It's a portrait of two women, standing on opposite sides of a shattered mirror. The cracks in the glass symbolize the brokenness of their relationship, but there's also a glimmer of hope, a small, unbroken piece of the mirror that reflects their faces, showing that, despite everything, there's still a connection between them. When I first unveiled the piece at the gallery, I wasn't sure how people would react, but the response has been overwhelming. People see themselves in the painting, in the fractured relationships, and the hope for reconciliation. It's been both humbling and cathartic to share this part of my life with the world. As I continue to create, I find that the more I paint, the more I heal. It's like I'm slowly stitching the pieces of my heart back together, one brush stroke at a time. And with each completed piece, I feel a little bit lighter, a little more at peace with my past. As I sit here, reflecting on everything that's happened, I realize that my story is far from over. I still have so much more to do, so much more to create. I've learned that life isn't about avoiding pain. It's about embracing it, using it to fuel your passions, and turning it into something beautiful. I'm excited about the future, about the life I'm building with Henry, about the art I have yet to create. There will be challenges, I know that. But I'm ready to face them, armed with the knowledge that I've survived worse. My relationship with Rachel may never be what it could have been, but I've made my peace with that. I've forgiven her, not for her sake, but for mine. I refuse to let the past define me any longer. I'm moving forward, with my head held high, ready to embrace whatever comes next. As for my art, I've decided to take a leap of faith. I'm planning to apply for an artist residency program in Europe, a chance to immerse myself in a new environment, to push my creative boundaries. It's a daunting prospect, but also an exhilarating one. It feels like the next step in my journey, a way to continue growing both as an artist and as a person. And who knows, maybe one day I'll have my own gallery, a space where I can showcase not just my work, but the work of other artists who have faced their own battles and come out stronger. A place where art and life intersect. where people can find solace and inspiration in the stories we tell through our creations. But for now, I'm content to keep painting, to keep exploring the depths of my soul, and to keep moving forward. I've learned that life is a canvas, and we are the artists, shaping our destinies with every choice, every brushstroke. And as long as I have paint on my palette and love in my heart, I know that I'll be just fine. So, here's to the future, to the dreams yet to be realized, to the challenges yet to be faced, and to the art yet to be created. I'm ready for whatever comes next, and I'm excited to see where this journey takes me, because in the end, it's not about where you've been, it's about where you're going. And I'm going forward, one step at a time, with my eyes wide open and my heart full of hope.